'cause you're here with me, friend. You live inside me, baby.
Welcome back, viewers. It's James Kalm, your frozen half-assed reporter, and we are in Chelsea, and we want to run in here to Mitchell-Innes Nash and take a look at a Leon Kossoff life and painting show. Stay tuned. I just pedaled in from Brooklyn. It is bitterly cold, but this was a show I didn't want to miss. I was talking to Kate, and she said the field temperature was 28 degrees, but it felt like 24 degrees, and there's about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind, so it's chilly.
You're so good, so good, baby. You're so good, so good, baby. You're so good, so good, baby. You're so good.
Well, they're calling the show Life in Painting. And from our little walkthrough, I can see that most of this is portraiture. This piece is self-portrait, 1974. Oil on board, 9 3/4 by 8. From 1974. Okay, here was one of the classic great Kossoff paintings. This is from 1963. It's titled Seated Nude. #1 oil on board, 64 by 49. Well, I was stationed in the military in Germany in the early 70s, and towards the end of my tour there, I was able to get over to London and visit all the museums and things, and that's when I first started coming across the work of Leon Kossoff. This is interesting. It looks like we've got some nails stuck in there. Now, before that, I'd seen a film featuring R.B. Katai, who was an American painter, but I guess he lived in London for the last 40 or 50 years of his life, and he was said to have been the person that canonized, titled the School of London, which was a group of figurative painters So this is Portrait of Father, number 3, 1972. Oil on board, 60 by 48. Well, so Leon Kossoff was a member of the London School. Lucian Freud, Frank Arbach, and I guess R.B. considered himself part of the the school, although, as I was saying, he was an American, I think, from Nebraska or someplace in the Midwest. So I was thinking, it was about maybe a year and a half ago. Gosh, as I remember, might even have been on election night that we went and saw Frank Arbach's show. This is a portrait of John Lesser, 1993, oil on board, 55 by 37. Well, I believe Leon passed away 2019, something like that. And both he and Frank were, gosh, maybe in their mid-late 80s at that point. And I guess they were friends, acquaintances, supported each other. And of course, Francis Bacon would be the superstar out of that group. Okay, so I like this because it's got a very muted palette. Everything is kind of brown and fleshy except for that olive green tie. Oh, this is a real gem. Portrait of Rosalind, number 1, 1973. This is 57 by 48. Well, I came in for a show of Leon's work here maybe 5 years ago, something like that. It's hard to tell with the COVID time. You know, the last 2 years have kind of blurred everything. But they were talking about, in the press release, how Kossoff had a couple of people that he did portraits of again and again. One of them was his wife. Wonderful paint handling. And oh, he's flinging some paint around as well. Strangely, this is one of the few pieces that is framed. His father is asleep in Armchair. Oil on board, 60 by 39. Well, okay, I'm noticing some glazing in on this, unless that's oil that is precipitated out of the straight paint. I was thinking also, one of the things that people like about the work is that it does have kind of a subdued palette, but in certain ways it's very, very classical. You could almost say that this palette relates to Rembrandt. A lot of the old masters, the browns and earth tones, and then every now and then we've got our shots of color. Demolition of a YMCA building, number 3, spring, 1971. I think that probably the 60s and 70s were the period when Kossoff really hit his stride. Well, I was saying that a lot of the show is portraits, but they do have some landscapes, and I'm actually a very big fan of his landscapes. You know, he's talking about his palette in relationship to Rembrandt, and just the whole physical material aspect of the paintings. And I guess that was a big part of what brought the London School together. I think this relates, of course, to people like Soutine. And I guess by the mid-50s into the 60s, we were also looking at people like Staggia. And it kind of relates to action painting. This is from Cephalus and Aurora by Poussin, number 2, 1981, oil on board. And I believe that even the Met put a show together of Kossoff's drawings after old masters. Gosh, this has got to be 10, 12 years ago. But I think that part of his practice was looking at old masterworks, drawing them again and again, taking them apart, putting them together, analyzing the compositions. And I think I'm looking at these, and they have a year as a date, but I think a lot of these he probably worked on for, well, maybe months, maybe years. And yeah, when you look at the edge and see the buildup and the layering, you appreciate the kind of time that he was spending on these. A street in Wilkeston, early summer, 1983. It's 39 by 54. And you can see, even though these are still pretty thick, pretty alla prima, and he's kind of thinned things down. His paints are not quite as thick, there's not quite as much buildup. And I don't know whether that's because people, especially people who use a lot of paint, get to a point where they want to be able to slide things around a little easier, and so if they have too much of a buildup, when they get a clotted surface, the brush doesn't slide around as well. The other aspect that I'm thinking about is that, as you get up into your 60s and 70s, you realize you may not be around. If it takes you 5 years to make a painting, you may not finish anything. Between Kilburn and Willesden Green, winter evening 1991. This is 30 by 46. Well, as I was saying, I came in for another show a few years ago, and they talked about some of his habits as far as his subject matter. I believe they had series of trees, particularly a pear tree from his garden, and they also said that there's a train line that ran near his house that he painted again and again. So I guess that's this. Oh, here's another beauty. Okay, I just looked at my cell phone and I just realized it's 6:02. It's after closing time. This is Red Brick School Building, winter, 1982. 48 by 60. Okay, this is rich. I love the little figures. Someone was saying that I guess Leon was taking a class at one of the art schools and failed his drawing course, but they added that just because you can't draw doesn't mean that you can't be a great painter. Like his little car there. Okay, we're gonna try to wrap this up as fast as we can. It's titled Small Self-Portrait 1978. Okay, this one is definitely encrusted. Some of these really have the physicality of a brick. But again, as I was saying, he's able to somehow keep the paint slippery enough that he can slide his brush strokes on like that. And we're going to finish this stroll looking at Christchurch, Spitalfields, early summer 1992. This is oil on board 71 by 48. So that's 6 by 4 feet. 1992, this may be the most recent piece in the show. Okay, so there's also, I was talking about Soutine, and a lot of the influence would be Soutine's kind of intensity, and the urgency actually ended up warping his figures. And this cathedral is kind of looming, slinking forward. Okay, well, I can see the board here. Well, I was just told that they're closing up. So this has been James Kalm here at Mitchell-Innes Nash, looking at Leon Kossoff, A Life in Painting. You can like this, share, link it up to all your social media sites. You can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, reviews, and suggestions below. And as always, we just ask you to say thank you, Kate.
Woo! All right. Pick up the pace a little bit. I'm gonna go into my Motown shit. Yeah.
That was great, Andy.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Great, great, great.
Roll it on the camera.
Thank you, man. Fantastic.